The Lone Ranger Restaurant was a fast food restaurant chain that opened in 1969 and closed in 1972. Thank you for your suggestion. The Lone Ranger Restaurant was the brainchild of an entrepreneur named Jack Rather. Rather had spent his early years growing up in Texas, who later served in the Marine Corps during World War II. After the war, he inherited his father's oil company, Overton Refining Company, expanding its holdings into a very successful business. Rather produced a multi-million-dollar fortune in oil, moved on to movies, television, radio, and hotel resorts. He produced his first movie, The Guilty, in 1946. And by 1955, he had produced 6 more. Beginning in the 1950s, he produced Lassie for 20 years on network television. Rather also produced a Lone Ranger television show from 1954 to 1957 and produced 2 Lone Ranger movies. In 1957, Rather owned the Muzak Corporation, which at the time owned one of the world's largest recording plants and library. Rather also developed the Disneyland Hotel in Anaheim, California, along with the Twin Lakes Lodge in Las Vegas, Nevada, and the La Horizon Hotel in Palm Springs, California. He spent $25 million restoring the Queen Mary and saved the Spruce Goose airplane from demolition in 1981 as a favor to his friend Howard Hughes. In the late 1960s, Jack Rather would venture into the restaurant business. Cashing in on the widespread popularity of his shows, he was inspired to open a restaurant chain based on the Lone Ranger. The first location opened on September 5, 1969 on the corner of Wilshire and Stanford Street at 3001 Wilshire Boulevard in Santa Monica. The 3,300 square foot Santa Monica location featured a quick draw drink bar, a menu consisting of hamburgers, fried chicken, fries, milkshakes, and a catchy themed menu items such as the ranch burger, cheeseburger, kemosabe hot dog, and the sheriff's steak sandwich. You could also order sides like Texas fries, Wild West beans, and coleslaw. If you took your family there, you could order the chicken saddlebag, steak sandwich saddlebag, or the ranch burger saddlebag. The family chicken saddlebag meal was enough to feed a family of 7 for a low price of $5.50. Much like the modern restaurants of today, the Lone Ranger restaurants offered dine-in and take-out. The grand opening featured the Lone Ranger, played by Clayton Moore, and his horse Silver. Clayton Moore played the Lone Ranger on television from 1949 to 1951 and 1954 to 1957. Banking on the success of the first restaurant, Rather had planned on expanding the franchise to over 16 restaurants. The expansion would soon take shape and other locations would follow. The second location opened on Crenshaw Boulevard near Exposition in March of 1970, another on West Pico Boulevard, a location on Beach and Slater Avenue in Huntington Beach, and another location on Hawthorne Boulevard in Torrance. There would be a total of 5 restaurants in all, and all restaurants would be known for their saddlebag dinners and Western-themed decor. The Lone Ranger himself, Clayton Moore, would also make appearances at different restaurants. According to one source, Moore would arrive in a very nice trailer dressing room, accompanied by a very Caucasian lady in an Indian squaw costume. She called herself Tanta, and she apparently was an executive in the Rather Corporation. Mr. Moore would shake hands and pose for pictures and sign autographs, and even give away silver bullets, largely for folks who weren't always aware that they were in the presence of the actual guy who played the role for years on TV. Despite this, and for reasons obvious to anyone who actually ate at one, the Lone Ranger restaurants was a quick flop. One former customer recalls the burgers at the Lone Ranger being amazingly close to inedible, which may be why the whole chain went under in less than 2 years. Sales declined from the very start. The company blamed high startup costs and declining popularity as the reason for its failure. According to Martin Graham's blog, by August of 1971, 4 of the 5 restaurants were operating at a loss. By the end of the year, those 4 locations would close. The last restaurant would close in 1972. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Thanks.